Hi, it's Callie here. So in my last video, I said I was going to do another video talking about emotion, and so that is what I am going to talk about today. And for those of you who don't know, emotion, okay? Emotion, what is emotion? I have learned that emotion is energy in motion, right? So, like the ego, we also like to attach ourselves to emotion and individualize emotion, thinking, it's something that just we experience, when in fact everyone experiences emotion. And not only that, everyone experiences the same base emotions. There's no feeling that you have felt that someone else has not felt. There's just different amplifications of the same energy. So whereas you may have felt sadness or grief or pain, but someone else has either felt it less or more, different variations, but still the same energy, the same emotion, just different density of that emotion. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to, send me a message or shoot me a comment. I always will respond. And so yeah, emotion is very tricky, because the hard part about emotion is that emotion triggers thought in the mind. I'm walking a little dog named Maggie. So, come on, Maggie. The mind is what kind of can make us go crazy, because the mind is, where we hear our thoughts, where all the words come in. Emotion is the feeling, it's a sensation, but thought is, the mind, the words. And so what happens is something in our life will trigger an emotion, right? And that emotion will usually trigger the mind. And what people don't know is emotions are actually very brief, It's a feeling, a sensation, it comes and it goes if we allow it to, but a lot of us aren't taught how to let emotions flow. What we do is we have a situation that triggers an emotion, right? And usually it's negative emotions, but some people have trouble feeling positive ones. But something triggers a negative emotion, and we're like, I feel sadness, man. And then after the energy or the feeling of sadness has already gone, we've stopped ourselves from actually feeling it to think about it. Like, whoa, that's uncomfortable. I don't like sadness. Why do I feel sadness? And for the next few hours, we're thinking about the feeling whilst not really feeling the feeling. We're just thinking about feeling. And if you're thinking, you're not feeling, because they're two different parts of us. So it's really important to make sure that you're really allowing your emotions to flow through you. Let them come and you let them go. And a lot of the time you'll feel a lot better after. And something other people don't really know is that emotions can get trapped. So let's say we have an emotion and we don't allow it to flow through us, and we hold on to that emotion. That energy stays within us, making us, denser, heavier, because negative emotions, they're heavy. I like to use the example of like a drum, a bass drum, and when you pound on that drum, you feel the vibration shooting through you. And so that would be the equivalent of a real negative emotion. It's heavy. And the flute, or some type of higher pitched instrument, would be the positive emotions. You kind of don't really feel them. They're just high and light. And so also, when feeling our emotion, it's important not to really let the mind go crazy, because that automatically stops the emotion. You can acknowledge it, but when you start to individualize the emotion, and when you start to judge the emotion, you're actually holding on to it and restricting it from flowing. So it's important to just allow our feelings to feel, the way that they feel, and to not really hold on to them. So yeah, emotions are super important. Real bad experiences, what happens with real, like trauma, is that we're not unable to process the emotion at the time. And I'm going to do another video on trauma and emotion, because that is super, super, if you're trying to heal, if you have, and because what happens with emotions that we're unable to process usually will come in the form of some type of attachment, whether it's, like smoking or drugs or alcohol or any type of habit that may not be good for us. Usually the underlying problem, the underlying attachment there is from an emotion, is our inability to cope or process the emotion, so we grab onto something else to kind of hold on to it, and it really stops us from going on any further, because then we're keeping ourselves low in the vibration because we're holding on to such dense weight, right? Emotion is energy. Negative emotion is heavy energy. So when we're holding on to that, we're vibrating at a lower and slower frequency, and we're not able to pick up on our higher conscious thoughts. So it's super important to, make sure your emotions are not only in check, but you know how to process them, you know how to release them, you allow them to flow. And I like to help people with that. So, maybe you think you have some trapped emotion, that's something I really enjoy helping people, because it's something that has really changed my life for 100% the better. And yeah, an example that I just have for you guys I thought about is fear, right? The emotion of fear. So I can relate it to when I'm driving down the road, and let's say I'm speeding and I see a cop, right? All of a sudden I feel this jolt of electricity, because remember, energy, emotion is just energy. So it feels like electricity, it feels like a shock, and it surges through my whole body. And for that moment I'm like, wow, and then after the surge of energy is gone, I feel weaker, I feel fatigued, I start shaking a little. And so it's really interesting, because what we don't realize is when we're in a fear state of mind, we're always like that. We're always tense and fatigued and holding on to that super high amplified electricity, that high energy, and it's exhausting. So that was just an example I thought of while I was explaining. I'm going to try to get into more detail on a lot of these videos. A lot of this is just, a poster board for emotion, just a short, quick example. I like to sometimes keep these short, because I know a lot of our attention spans, even my own, focus is something that takes time to build and discipline yourself to, remain. And so yeah, that's about it for emotion. Hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to message me or comment. If you like the videos, if you want to see more, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, I'm out, you guys. Take care.